Hey, so this is going to be the first in what is hopefully a series of monthly video logs, wherein I tell you about the creative projects I'm working on right now. If the date in the description says the 29th, that means I made it to a Wi-Fi hotspot by the end of the day. Regardless, I will continue to upload these on the last Sunday of the month, and if I haven't done anything creative that month, well, that's just going to be embarrassing, isn't it? So, on the 28th of May 2014, I finished my last ever exam and became a free man. When June started, I resolved to finish my short story, The Andromeda System, by the end of the month. That month is almost over, and I'm ready to read some of it to you now. Edwin ended the call, and scooted his chair a few meters over to Chandra's control pad. Obtaining the ID and address code would be easy, but smuggling the information out of the Institute would not be. Every form of external communication was monitored, and it would certainly be wiped from his memory when he left the premises. The guards checked rigorously for anything like sticky notes hidden in clothing, yet he'd never seen them checking under anyone's shoes before. Though they were underground, the room around him was as bright as daylight. There was no privacy here. The open-plan layout of the office allowed anyone to see what anyone else was doing, but since most people here worked night shift, it was not too likely that someone was looking over his shoulder. The HHD cameras could pick out every one of the greasy hairs on his head, but Edwin had learned from a few years of experience that no one really monitored the cameras. The managers had a much better way to watch over their subordinates. Every 60 seconds, the security systems enacted a loyalty check on all staff members, scanning their heads with the psychic wireless to make sure they weren't doing anything suspicious. If a child had been allowed down there, they may have complained about hearing a high-pitched ringing noise every minute. That was the interference wave generated by the signal of the loyalty checks. Not many people keep their ultrasonic hearing range well past childhood. Edwin was one of those people. He had been absent-mindedly tapping his pen on the desk, listening out for the loyalty check. Once he heard it, he would have about 55 seconds to get the information for Chandra. Eve. There it was. He pulled up his chair to the control panel and tapped on the screen to wake it, and clicked a list of recently accessed heads. The folder was locked, so he pushed his phone up to the microphone and played a voice recording of Chandra saying the password, which he'd made just in case he needed it for times like this. Paranoia did have its advantages. To complete the illusion, he moved his lips as if he was saying it as well. It was enough to fool the speech recognition, and he was in. Then he saw something he didn't expect. The head at the top of the list appeared over 20 times. They weren't identical copies, though. They had the same ID number, but different address codes. This wasn't even supposed to be possible, unless for some reason they were different minds sharing the same head. But that was absurd. Less than 30 seconds ago now, he had to choose one. Edwin quickly picked one at random, and wrote the ID number on the sole of his left shoe. 00104220, someone was coming, 3515682. He began to copy the address code onto his right sole. M937F, the footsteps were getting closer. WJ28V. He pretended to tie up his shoelace while the man walked past, which seemed to take forever. Edwin was really running out of time now. V8K3Y, he accidentally wrote the wrong letter and had to cross it out. 7CV9J, he was running out of space on the shoe. MG73C. With seconds to spare, Edwin capped the pen and went back to tapping it on the desk as if nothing had happened. He would check his shoes afterwards. Chandra would remind him. So, that's the Andromeda System. It's a story about a mind control company that investigates a person with multiple personality disorder. I actually got the idea from a QC comic 2 years ago, which used the phrase fictive headmate. I googled it, and I found this amazing multiplicity community on Tumblr. Now, whether you think they're faking it or not, I just thought the idea of it, of multiple people sharing the same body, was amazing, and I knew then that I wanted to write a story about it. It's taken me 100 hours to write, and it's just over 9,000 words. Now, it's going to be published. I say published, it's a very indie publishing house that's pretty much limited to selling books at conventions, but when it becomes available, in whatever form, I'll make sure to post a link to it somewhere. And it's an anthology book with a whole bunch of short stories written by students of the University of Nottingham. And over the coming months I'll be writing, drawing comics, drawing anything really. I can sing. I'll be making silly videos. I have a prolific career as a Wikipedia editor, of which I am sure the best days are still ahead. And if you want to see more of me, subscribe. I'll see you in July.